My brain is full of forbidden knowledge.
Okay, guys, spoiler alert. Sam's going to tell us everything now.
Everything, yes.
Okay, what do you got?
Okay, here's who dies. I'm kidding. We have finished season 3, and we are finishing season 4.
How long was Hazbin on Broadway? One night?
Hazbin on Broadway was one night, yeah.
Was there conversations of more nights?
There have been maybe except for Nifty's song Clean It Up, especially when Erica goes, I don't know what to call it other than like growly mode. That's a thing that like we hear her do in real life.
It's so cool seeing you have these two giant things that are so different.
It's so wild. And it's funny because the longer I do both of them, the more they start to cross over, in that like now we'll have fans who are showing up to Living Tombstone shows who are asking me Helliverse questions. And now like when I do conventions these days, I get a lot of people coming up to me asking like, hey, what's the nearest closest show you're doing with TLT? And so the worlds are just slowly migrating closer together.
Are people cosplaying at Living Tombstone shows now?
So much. I would say when things started,
Sam, that's so cool.
it's really amazing. And what's so fun about it too is like that was something I felt like I kind of manifested, because at the very, very beginning of figuring out and brainstorming what the live Living Tombstone show might be, the number one thing I was thinking about was in 2011, I went to Lady Gaga's, I think it was the Monster Ball tour or Monsters Ball. And I remember feeling like, oh, it's a Lady Gaga show. I really need to like dress up and like glam up and express myself. And then I showed up there and it felt like everyone else got the same sort of internal mental memo. And so we were all sort of dressed up and very self-expressive. And I remember thinking in 2018, when we were discussing what live TLT might look like, that thinking about the Monster Ball tour and how everyone felt so comfortable dressing up and being like, how do we create that environment for us? And somehow we have. And when we first started out, there were a ton of people that would show up in kind of like convention cosplay, like Five Nights at Freddy's or stuff like that. And they still do. But now over time, especially on this last tour, more and more people have shown up dressed as us, the band, which has been crazy. I remember the first time I saw someone cosplay us, I was just blown away. And then by like 6 or 7 shows after that, all of a sudden it seemed like 5 to 10% of the crowd was cosplaying us. And now that has slowly grown and grown and grown. It's incredible.
Is that something that the music just dictates, where people feel like they're, or is it the world that you guys create when releasing?
I think it's the community. I think ultimately, you know, whether or not people are interested in dressing up is just about like, have you curated a community where everybody wants to do a group activity together? And I think that's part of it, because dressing up together, it's an opportunity to be like, here's my outfit. Let me see your outfit. Oh my God, I love your outfit. Let's take pictures together. It's kind of like showing up to a Comic-Con where, you know, everyone wants to show off their costume. Everyone wants to see everyone else's costume. And it's created that kind of Comic-Con-y environment. And I think part of that too is a lot of our audience have not been to concerts before. We sometimes say like, hey, by a show of hands, you know, how many people is it your first concert? And there are a lot of hands that always go up. So these are people who those sort of communal gathering events are usually stuff like conventions and fan clubs and that kind of thing. So to them, the concert's almost an extension of community building rather than its own different thing.
I've been lucky enough to film at Level Up, and getting to see the people talk to each other just about how they built their costumes, where they get it from.
It's amazing.
It really builds such friendships together.
It does. It does. One of the things we started asking towards the end of the tour was how many people have made a friend since showing up tonight? And we see all these hands go up, and it's like, it's so cool and touching because, you know, when you're a creator on the internet and you start to build an audience, there are things you can do to influence what that audience is like, for sure. But at the end of the day, you know, you don't get to choose your audience chooses you. And we are really, really lucky that the audience that chose us is such a communally minded audience, is such an audience who like wants to dress up and participate and make a friend and connect to each other.
How do you find the time to fly back to New York to do the Hazbin Broadway shows?
Barely is the answer. I was working on like live arrangements of the songs. Thank God I wasn't doing it alone. I was doing it with there's this guy Charlie Rosen
You have to
who
tweak it from the original songs to live?
yes, yeah, because part of it is, now with live singers, there are parts that are baked into the tracks that are like sung parts that we're removing, and we also had live instruments. We had a drum kit, we had a bassist and a guitarist and a keyboardist. So we had to figure out what musical parts are those instruments doing in every song? How do we pull those elements out of there? There were songs that got cut down a little bit to just like if there was a dialogue-y piece, how do we sort of skip through that? There was a lot of problem solving around adapting these songs to be performed live. And as I said, thankfully I didn't have to do it alone. The other music director is this guy Charlie Rosen, who I'd worked with in the past, and he's been nominated for like 6 Grammys. He's a genius. And so Charlie and I were both doing it both from the road independently because Charlie was doing some, orchestra conducting and stuff like that. And I was on a tour bus. And so we would just have these sort of Zoom calls with his playback tech being like, okay, let's go through all the tracks on this song. Can we assign this one to the guitar? Should we mute this one because this actor's going to be singing this part? There was a lot of rearranging to make these songs work live.
It's such a tedious process to make sure it runs smoothly.
Absolutely. And there was it's kind of a miracle that the show was as great as it was live because we really were throwing this together so on the fly and we didn't have a lot of prep time. And a lot of credit goes to the actors there because the actors really, really came in so well rehearsed, so dedicated. And, they basically spent a weekend drilling these songs like crazy to get to the shape in which they would show up on stage and kill them. And they did.
How long was Hazbin on Broadway? One night?
Hazbin on Broadway was one night, yeah.
Was there conversations of more nights?
There have been conversations from time to time of like, gosh, this is pretty fun on stage. What do we do about that? And I'm very excited for those conversations to continue, but who knows? Who knows what the future holds?
Real quick, guys, today's episode is brought to you by Aonic Complete. It's daily essential nutrition in one beautiful on-the-go design. Fill in those nutrition gaps with Aonic Complete. The reason why I love Aonic Complete is because they put all the great tasting vitamins in the liquid format. This means that everything is 100% naturally flavored. There's no sweeteners, no colors. Everything else is in the 3 soft gels and 1 capsule, delivering 34 essential nutrients at clinically effective dosages to support overall well-being, immunity, and all-day performance. I personally love Aonic Complete because it covers the 4 cornerstones of supplementation to support the whole body health. Number 1, multivitamins and minerals. Number 2, pre, pro, and postbiotics. Number 3, omega-3. And number 4, superfoods and greens. It has daily immune support to help fight off colds, which is essential to this time of year. This really is my all-in-one supplement. It helps me stay focused and energetic through my workouts, my hikes, my boxing classes. I love that there is a his and a hers. Aonic Complete has limited spots for subscription, so go subscribe now while you can. Use my code Joe and you can get 25% off. Use my code at checkout or click the link down below to get the 25% off. So give your body what it deserves. Check out Aonic, and now back to the podcast. Hazbin Hotel Season 2 came out.
Yes.
How many songs are yours?
All of them.
100%?
100%, yeah.
Oh, wow.
My co-writer Andrew Underberg and I like sort of 50-50 write every single song.
How long ago does that process start? When did these songs first get birthed?
So we started working on Season 2 before Season 1 came out.
Is that just how it worked out?
Yeah, we started working on Season 2 before Season 1 came out. And part of that was just the Season 2 greenlight happened before Season 1 came out. And so once Season 2 was greenlit and they realized, oh, Season 1's coming out pretty soon, we better get started. There was all of a sudden this idea of like, oh my gosh, we need to start Season 2 right now. And so we did. We started Season 2, I want to say October of 2023. We started working on Season 2.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it started pretty early. It started before the end of the year in 2023. And Hazbin came out, I want to say January 19th of 2024. So we were already working on it well in advance of Season 1, which is also, that can be a risk because you're also working on it before people get a chance to respond to Season 1. And you don't really have a sense of like what the audience is going to love and what they're not going to love. But for us, because it is such a process that is dictated by Vivienne, it was always like, well, if Vivienne loves it, it's great. And so there was never really much of a sense of trying to shadow box with the audience's tastes.
What is your title technically? Are you composer, musical director? Like, you're a lot of hats, technically.
Songwriters. So I think that's generally just what we call it. We're the songwriters.
Where do you even start for season 2? Because you have to continue storylines while making sure that the song is good. So are you working on the beats first? Do the lyrics come first?
It's not that we're working on one part of a song at a time. I think it's that we're working on one section of a song at a time. So we might start with a song's chorus. And so in starting with a chorus, we're not going to say like, oh, we just got to do the beat first or just the melody or whatever. We're sort of holistically doing every layer in that piece of the song, if that's the most important part of the song.
Are you just starting off with like and then that's like, oh, okay, this is it?
I mean, kind of. Andrew and I are based on opposite coasts. He's in New York and I'm in LA. So a lot of it like will be on Zoom or sometimes in person, where I would say throughout working on a season of Hazbin, we're normally in person for I would say around 4 different times, where I'll fly to New York or he'll fly to LA, and we'll just spend a few days like grinding like mad in person. But I would say, it starts on Zoom, and one of us is like playing some chords and humming out some melodies, and the other one goes, oh, that's really good. Why don't we get that down in a project file?
Record it.
Yes.
Scratch track.
Yeah. But a lot of it is just kind of sort of doodling around either on an instrument live or into a project file, which when we get on Zoom, it'll be like, hey, last night I sketched something in this Logic project. Why don't we open that up and take a listen? And what do you think about that? How can we expand it? There's a lot of that.
And then where do you get the idea of what the song needs to be about and what character it goes to?
Oh, I mean, that's all Vivienne. So in season 2, something that was really different from season 1 is that we were actually it's not really a writer's room. They call it the writer's summit. Because in a writer's room, you're kind of like writing the episodes, and in a writer's summit, which this was, we were breaking the story. So we were basically saying, episode 1, what are the plot points? What needs to happen? Episode 2, what are the plot points? What needs to happen?
Who's in this room?
It is all the writers, a couple of the producers from Bento Box, and Andrew and myself.
Wow.
And so it is a lot of figuring out the bullet points of the way the season's laid out. And, a lot of changes can happen in that writer's summit. And so it was really helpful for us to be participating in that, because we also got a clear sense before we even needed to start writing music, where the songs would be, what purpose they would serve plot-wise, who would be participating in them, and why.
All right. So how important is it for you to push the story forward while maintaining the song is good?
I mean, it's so important because season 2, like season 1, had only 8 episodes. So we don't really have the time to kill time. So any song needs to really advance the plot either through exposition and like having characters grow between the beginning and end of that song, or growing and advancing the story by like showing you an emotional truth of that character that maybe that character had been concealing, that kind of thing. So we don't really have the option to write a song that just exists, because like, wouldn't it be silly if we had a song there?
Right. Everything needs to have purpose.
Well, maybe except for Nifty's song Clean It Up. That song kind of is there just because, like, wouldn't that be super fun to have a song there like that? And it's funny, like that has become one of the most beloved songs of the season, in part because, having a fun and game moment with a character once in a while, I think does let you get to know a character a little bit better, even though it is doing a little bit less for the plot.
Hazbin Guarantee. That's the first song that comes on the show.
Yes.
Is there more pressure because that's the first one that the audience gets to see?
A little bit, but I think most of the pressure comes from the fact that for the most part, we work in chronological order. So a lot of the pressure comes from the fact that that's going to be the first song Vivienne's going to hear from us. So again, rather than thinking about the audience, we're often thinking of her. So for us, the pressure is like, okay, we got to really impress Viv on this one. Like, how are we growing? How are we advancing as songwriters
let's do this,
in
Andrew.
season 2? Yes, exactly. So a lot of it was not the pressure of an audience member turning on Prime and being like, what is this? It was the pressure of like, all right, Viv, let's show you what we can do. Season 2, let's do it.
Now, this is also you're starting to work with these actors and you're understanding the characters more, so you really know their skills and their talents.
Totally. And I would say that doesn't even come from getting to know the actors, the characters more. It comes from getting to know the actors themselves.
So like Erica's ability.
Yes, totally. Because there's stuff we put in there that has no bearing on her back catalog as an actress on Broadway and has a lot of bearing on the Erica we know in person. There are a lot of moments, especially when Erica goes, I don't know what to call it other than like growly mode. That's a thing that like we hear her do in real life, but I don't know that I've heard her do that on like Mean Girls or anything like that, where, you know, she does it a little bit in Hazbin Guarantee when she's like, I'm checking in, where she does this kind of like Southern preacher voice in a way that like, I don't know that I've heard her do that in something else, but I can think of moments at like release events or at conventions and stuff where Erica's gotten really excited and started speaking in growly mode.
I just picture her head bobbing back.
Yeah, totally. Like she's a goofball, and being able to harness the ways in which these actors are a goofball when they're not in the booth has been really fun as we grow their musical catalog.
So is your brain constantly working and thinking of songs and how to...
Yeah, from time to time, there are definitely songs that occur to me sort of off the clock, but a big part of learning how to do this has been learning how to just turn it on when the moment you get on the clock. So a lot of it has just been like, okay, Andrew and I have scheduled to start work at like 9 a.m. my time. So the moment I get on Zoom, I need to be able to start writing music. And being able to grow that muscle creatively has been a challenge, but one that I feel like we've really figured out how to do. That said, there are like off the clock ideas. I remember I came up with a voice note for an idea for a lute song that this was before we even were working on Gravity. And I was like, what, we weren't working on the songs at the time. And I was like, oh yeah, at some point, we're definitely going to have to write this cool villain song for lute. And I just started jamming something out on a guitar and recording voice notes. And I sent those to Andrew, and we were like, okay, that's kind of neat. That's kind of cool. And then eventually we got to Gravity, and Gravity was a completely different song. But I will tell you that voice note, and I will not tell you for who and in what context, that voice note came back when we were writing for season 4. And all of a sudden, that musical idea that I came up with off the clock around the time we were starting season 2 was like, I think we can use this for this very specific situation that occurs 2 seasons later. So there are times where those sort of off-the-clock music ideas really do get repurposed into the show.
Have you already began writing songs for season 3 and 4?
We have finished season 3, and we are finishing season 4 and getting season 4 recorded.
Wow. With the actors?
With the actors, yeah.
So like new cast members?
I know new cast members in season 3 that no one knows about. I know new cast members in season 4 no one knows about. We're not into working on season 5 yet, but I'm aware of what's coming down the pipeline in season 5. I know ways in which stories are going to change for certain characters and all that. Like my brain is full of forbidden knowledge.
Okay, guys, spoiler alert. Sam's going to tell us everything now.
Yes.
Okay, what do you got?
Okay, here's who dies. I'm kidding.
Wow, that's such an undertaking, like, honestly. For Hazbin Guarantee, halfway through the song, it really has that switch.
Yeah.
Was that intentional? How many drafts do you guys go through before you're like, oh, let's change it up really drastically here?
Oh, no. I think that was kind of part of the brief. The idea of Hazbin Guarantee was it is a welcoming song where you start at the hotel, and by the end of the song, you're at V Tower, and you're getting a sense of both of them. And I think that's really important because it's not just a hotel welcoming song. It's also a V Tower welcoming song. And so it serves as an introduction to the sort of two competing. I wouldn't call Vox a protagonist, but I would call him more than an antagonist. I would call him, not to get all like, I went to school to be a playwright, but the term for that is a deuteragonist, someone who is sort of your secondary protagonist, who may also be an antagonist, but you are following their journey much in the same way you're following the journey of your protagonist.
Is there anyone in season 2 that you were most excited to write for?
It was Lute, for sure, for sure. Like the moment Jessica Vosk got cast and we realized how little she had to sing in season 1, and yet how high impact that singing was. There were it almost became like a meme. It was so ubiquitous, that little teeny part that she has in You Didn't Know in episode 6 of season 1. Everyone kept being like, wow, why does that sound so good? Well, it sounds so good because it's Jessica Vosk and she's an immense talent. And we were like, we gotta get her something that really lets her shine as best as it possibly can. And so Gravity was always something that we really, really wanted to do. We needed Lute to have like a big ass villain song, and Gravity is that song, and people have responded to it so well.
Did you have a feeling that that was going to be a breakout song? Because that's number 1 on Spotify.
Yes, totally.
What does that? You've hyped up too before season 2 release. So you're like, guys, this is going to be it. Like, was that the one you were talking about?
Gravity I knew would be, if it wasn't the very top, it would be basically on top of the pile. And part of that was also the feedback that we kept hearing. Like, I would have friends who would have a meeting at Amazon, like different, show creator friends would take general meetings at Amazon, and then hear from the development people, if they were at Amazon, and they'd be like, oh yeah, I know some of the Hazbin team, like we're buddies. There are people at Amazon who would be like, have you heard Gravity yet? And so already knowing that people internally at these production companies were like sending each other Gravity and being like, yo, this song. So I already got a sense of like, okay, Gravity's going to pop off.
What was it like for you working with Patrick Stump?
Oh my God, it was amazing.
Huge Fall Out Boy fan.
Oh yeah. No, me too. And I was so intimidated by it, especially because Patrick Stump doesn't really have any Patrick Stumpy stuff to do before the last episodes. So I was very intimidated about bringing him in, period. I was especially intimidated about bringing him in to do the like quirky little Abel stuff in episode 2. I was like, oh boy, this is like the opposite of a Fall Out Boy song. And yet he was so good and so funny. And I feel like for me now, it's hard to imagine Abel being anybody else. Like, he so is Abel, and he is, much in the same way that Abel is kind of a cinnamon roll of a character. Patrick Stump is a cinnamon roll of a guy. He's a sweetie pie. I don't know how else to call him.
When do you start building on all the harmonies and everything else afterwards?
A lot of that gets built into the demo, but once the demo exists, then the actors often will have us shift the key up, just a little bit, or down just a little bit. And that, when we start moving things around, that's when, if there are a lot of actors, well, maybe actor A moves it over here so they're more comfortable, but now actor B's part is out of their range. So we need to switch their harmonies on this line. So there's a lot of figuring out how to Tetris the vocal lines once the actors move the song into its final key.
And is that all in person? That's you and Andrew are together? Or is that all through Zoom still?
A lot of that's through Zoom. A lot of that happens where we will have a song finished and we will send it to the actor in advance, and they will say, hey, could you bump this up 2 semitones? And we go, sure, we could do that, but then that means we're going to need to change this actor's part. So we reach out to actor number 2 and we say, hey, can you do it this way? And they go, okay, cool, I'm comfortable with that. And then we have a locked key for a song.
We still have 2 more episodes coming out.
Yeah.
Are you excited for those songs to be released?
Yes. And also, when is this coming out? When is this coming out?
Today's Saturday. When do they get released?
They get released on Wednesday.
Does it make sense to wait till Wednesday?
I think it makes sense to release this after those come out.
What can you say about those songs? How was the recording process? Who are you excited to record with?
The last 2 songs in the show, When I Think About the Future and Hear My Hope, contain collectively in all of them every cast member in the show. When I Think About the Future has about 3/4 of them, and Hear My Hope has, I think, everyone in it except for 1 or 2 actors. Really, Hear My Hope has almost every cast member in it, and When I Think About the Future has most of them. So, like, these are really hard songs to make. really hard, not just in terms of key, but also in terms of like, how do we marry all these characters' styles? How do we give them a meaningful contribution to the song where it feels like their presence and the audience is feeling their presence and what they say feels in character?
That seems incredibly hard to make sure that it's true to who they are as a character.
Yeah, it's really tough. And I think one of those, I think part of it is just looking at it as though we're writing big ensemble scenes and trying to have as much of a scene present during the song. So Hear My Hope, thankfully, like there's a lot of stuff that happens in Hear My Hope, which is one of the reasons that the song's like more than 5 minutes long, but another reason that the song is really, it's able to be 5 minutes long because there are so many opportunities for things to occur. And similarly, in When I Think About the Future, we go to a lot of different locations and see a lot of different characters in their element and get to see what they're filming sort of on the crux of this final confrontation.
Do you have sketches or anything that you're working off of during this time?
No,
It's
nothing
so
visual.
early that...
Yeah, this is at the time that we're working with this, we're working on these when the scripts are being written.
Oh, so they're not recorded yet.
No.
So the songs are pretty much done before they record the dialogue with Richard and Viv.
Totally. Because really the songs are part of the scripts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's wild.
it is.
That's like truly shocking.
Yeah,
What was it like for you to hear everybody sing their songs live?
it was incredible. I mean, we get a sense of how talented these people are, not just by reputation. I mean, like, I think Christian Borle might have like 2 Tonys. I mean, these are people who have an incredible, these are Broadway legends, most of them. And some of them, it was their Broadway debut, which was so exciting too, on a completely different level. But, their reputation precedes them. They're incredibly talented. And we've spent seasons and seasons recording these people. We know how great they are. So on the one hand, it feels like nothing should surprise us. And yet, the moment they all stepped out on stage, I was like, holy shit, this is so different. Because seeing someone in a booth is never, ever going to be a substitute for seeing someone on stage. There was this moment after Christian in the Hazbin on Broadway performed Vox Populi, where I went backstage and I basically like grabbed him by the shoulder and I was like, Christian, you're really fucking funny, right? And it felt so dumb to say that because of course he knows that. He's an award-winning Broadway actor who has been in comedies for decades. But I was so moved by what he did comedically that I was like, dude, where did that even come from? That was incredible. And I hadn't gotten to see him do that up close. And I just realized like, oh yeah, I'm just watching a guy in a booth and he's great in a booth. He's fantastic in a booth. But getting to see him do these songs in a real staged way, it just blew me away. It's a completely different craft.
Is it crazy there's no limitations when you're writing for a song for a guy like that?
Yeah, it is nuts because when we're writing these songs, to an extent, we kind of get to decide what happens on screen. Obviously.
What do you mean?
To an extent, because, the brief of these songs comes from Vivian. It needs to fit into the episode. But when we're writing these songs, and this is something we got in a little bit of trouble with Sam and Sky, who you've had on this show, was during during Like You in episode 2, we kept on being like, oh, and now they go to a unicorn polo stadium, and now they watch a rom-com about Santa Claus falling in love. And by the time that song was like accepted and moved into board production, I remember we got a series of messages or a Zoom call or something where they were like, hey, really fun song, never do that to us again. It was because it was just like there have got to be like 17 different locations in that song. There are so many specific like props and stuff that we call out in the song. We're like pangolins, cotton candy, just naming random shit.
Drug.
Yeah, exactly. And so I will say there was in season 3 a song that we wrote as a prank for Sam and Sky.
Just to send to them?
Just to send to them, to be like, okay, here's the song. And we sent them a prank song, which was just describing things. It was describing the worst possible things that they could possibly have to draw. And I remember sending it to Viv first and being like, hey, I'm going to send this to Sky. Is that cool? And Viv dying. It was, that song does not exist in season 3. An animatable song exists, but I remember Andrew and I approaching that song being like, what if we do everything wrong and then just send it and be like, that's the song. So there was at one point a prank song as
Did
a
they know
response
right
to
away?
like, yes. Oh yeah. Yes. I think we also titled it like the totally real blank song.
Yeah.
So like they knew, but it was just a moment to acknowledge like, whoops, we can't do that again, and we recognize that.
How often are you sending the songs to Vivian throughout the process of it?
I would say generally Vivian gets the songs once there's a demo, unless we're not sure about the direction the demo's going. So we'll have these conversations kicking off a song, and then if we feel like the demo that's coming together is pretty much exactly what those conversations described, then we'll just send her the demo when the demo's done. But if in the process of making that song, it feels like it's slightly taking a left turn creatively from the brief,
You gotta check to make sure it's
we
still
have to
good.
check. Yeah, totally. Because otherwise we could end up with a complete demo that we send Viv and Viv being like, well, this isn't really what I wanted or asked for. So normally there, once we have maybe like a verse and a chorus, we will send that work in progress of a demo to Viv being like, hey, we tried this different choice. Here's why we think it might work. What do you think about this direction? And sometimes we'll get a, oh, actually, that really does work. I like it. Keep going. And sometimes we'll get a, I think this is getting a little far from what the plan was. So why don't you go back this way?
You do such an incredible job really building out the whole song. Like, truly, how do you build out instruments that maybe you haven't played in real life, like a string section? Is that, obviously it's all done on the computer, but is everything pretty much just like, music song theory?
To an extent. And I would actually say not everything's done on a computer. There are a lot of instruments that are recorded live.
Are the strings live?
Some of them sometimes. The strings, we have live cellos. Not every time you hear a cello, it's a live cello, but there are some times that you have a cello line that sticks out enough that it's important that it has the natural dynamics of a live performance, in which case we will get a live cellist. There are a ton of live drums on season 2. There's so many. And that was part of it too. There are enough live drums in season 2 that we used more than one live drummer because there were so many different styles of drumming. There is a ton of live guitar. There is, in terms of live strings, we did have a little bit of live instruments in season 1. Like we have a live fiddle player in Hell's Greatest Dad when Lucifer is playing the fiddle. Throughout we often bring in piano players. Andrew, my co-writer, does play piano, but sometimes we will bring in people who are like specialists at playing piano to, put a little mustard on it. And I think, the assumption that everything is in the computer is really like less and less true season by season. I think the longer we do this, the more live instruments we bring in. And in part of that, like we have a little bit more time season 1 to make the songs than we did we had a little bit more time in season 2 to make the songs than we did in season 1. And we had a little bit, I wouldn't say more time in season 3, but like we were just a little bit more polished and working a little bit faster in season 3. So we had time to bring in more live instruments, and same for season 4. So the longer we do this, the more live it gets. My dream is by the time we hit season 5 that we can have songs where like the production companies are like, let's rent an orchestra. Let's get just a straight up orchestra to do this song, if it's appropriate for the song.
Right. Is there more budget with season 2 that you're able to get these live people, or is that not a thing?
Typically the way the business works when you are writing and producing music for film and television is the music budget, like they pay you what they pay you, and what
Who's
they
they? The production
the
company?
production companies, and the music budget is what they pay you. Basically, you're keeping anything you don't spend. So, as songwriters, we have overheads of like session musicians, stuff like that.
You and Andrew have that in the budget too.
Exactly.
So you guys allocate to where it.
Exactly. So we some of the money they pay us, we are also spending on session performances.
Are you guys also the ones in charge of mixing and mastering it out to where you want to do it?
No.
That's separate.
Thankfully, because mixing and mastering are really specialized technical skills. It's the kind of thing that we could do, but no one would be happy with the result. Like, it's just, there's such a difference, and mixing can really make a track come alive or make a track feel flat and dead. And so I'm really glad that they brought in mixing engineers for that.
Don't You Forget gives such like old school Disney nostalgia vibes.
Oh yeah. And Don't You Forget, and the reprise of Don't You Forget, until it gets a little bit more electronic, really are based on a jazz standard, which is the Charleston. Which is, if you listen to the music and the chords in the background, it's that kind of dum dum ba dum bum ba da bum ba da bum bum. There's this very classic style of ragtime chord progression that goes under Don't You Forget, and then of course under Don't You Forget reprise.
This question is for the people who come up to you at the cons and they really want to understand the Sam. Like, what's your mindset for these songs? What are you listening to? How are you determining your inspirations?
Totally. Well, there are two sets of inspirations every time we're making a song. One set of inspiration is what Andrew and I think is appropriate for this song and for these characters. But another set of inspiration is what Viv already has in mind. So for something like Don't You Forget, I don't remember what she sent us, but she probably sent us 2 or 3 different classic musical songs being like, hey, I like this vibe, how the piano's like this. I like that vibe, how sort of the structure of the song goes that way. She will come up with a short, 1 to 3 song playlist of things that inspire her when she's thinking about the scene that song is.
How do you guys communicate to each other? Is it Slack or
It's Discord, actually. Yeah. We
Is that-
spend a ton of time on Discord, on phone calls, in real life, and on Zoom. Like, that's a combination of those 4.
It was so cool seeing you leak the voice memo with Amir.
Yes, totally. I mean, that stuff is really fun.
Just to see, like,
Yeah, totally. And what Joe is referring to is when we made the season 1 recap song, Our Girl Charlie, with Amir. There was a moment where I was like, oh, I wonder if Amir can sing this high note. And I just texted him. I was like, hey, can you sing, a high B flat or maybe even an A? And Amir just sent me a voice note from his car of him practically screaming this note at me. But that is part of it, is like, the longer we know these actors, the more open our lines of communication are.
Yeah.
So we can text each other of like, hey, how does this key feel? Hey, I'm working on this song and it sounds sort of this way. How do you feel about that? That kind of thing. We have a really open line of communication, and we talk a lot, and we see each other a lot at like conventions and stuff.
the musical layering really feels so in depth. Is there something in the songs when you're recording or writing that the audience might not hear, but it's in there?
There are a lot of little Easter eggs like that. In the song Piss with Alex and Christina, Blake Roman is also credited on the song because even though it's not seen visually, if you listen to the background sort of choir of voices, they are Blake doing Egg Boy voices. And so when they're coming together on that last, they say time heals all wounds, you hear these, ah, and it's Blake doing Frank the Egg Boy, a bunch of layers of that.
Oh, wow.
And similarly to that, in Vox Day, you have these kind of spooky choir voices in the background of the big crowd. But if you listen really closely, what they're saying is praise Vox over and over again.
Some songs have your name on it, some don't. Are you singing in it? Is that why?
I sing on a lot of songs, but I think generally speaking, on the Hazbin soundtrack, Andrew and I get credited just because so much of what we do is also kind of music artistry on those songs, and also it's a courtesy credit, and it's one we appreciate.
Oh, I didn't know if you were like more vocally singing in it.
Oh no, no. I mean, Andrew and I do often have sort of baked in vocal layers as almost used like instruments. You can hear a lot of that stuff in season 1 as well. There are these choirs in Hell is Forever, for example, when Alex is going, when all is said and done, there's a question of fun, and you hear these ahs in the background. Those are me. In episode 2 of season 1 in Stayed Gone, there are all those like sort of unseen Vox interns where he's like, turn the camera on, and their voices going like sound speed, and it'll be camera rolls. Like that's all me. I do a bunch of cannibal voice layers in Ready for This in season 1. In season 2, there's a lot of stuff that's like that, where it's just sort of baked into the environment of the song.
Can we do some rapid fire where you kind of just blurt it out?
Totally.
Favorite Hazbin character to write music for?
Serpentious.
Why?
Because I love making Alex pronounce things in the weird way he pronounces things.
Most chaotic character in the cast?
Nifty.
The song that took the longest to finish in season 2?
When I think about the future.
How come?
It has so many different components, and we would have finished writing component number 1, but then we would need to rewrite component number 2. It's when I think about the future is almost like 9 songs squished together, and so we had to keep rewriting individual chunks of it.
Which song came together in one night?
Clean It Up.
Just easy?
It's just like I felt like we were really we were just vibing with the nifty, chaotic energy, and we did that in an afternoon.
Who has the most deceptively difficult voice?
Ooh, I would say Christian, and not because his vocal range is difficult or anything like that, but it's because we can anticipate acting choices from basically anybody in the cast except for him. And Christian will always come into the booth and make a choice where we're like, whoa, what was that? In a good way. And so it's really hard to anticipate how he's going to act his way through a scene.
Oh, that's so exciting.
It is really exciting because until we get to those sessions, we really kind of don't know how Vox is going to play it.
Most underrated Hazbin track in season 1?
Ready for This.
Just doesn't get enough credit.
Doesn't get enough love.
One word to describe Alistair.
Yeah. Can I smush together Cheshire Cat?
Sure.
Yeah.
Which Hazbin character would you start a band with?
With Adam or Abel. One of the... no, Adam. Adam's a guitarist, and he does seem like he would be very hard to be on tour with. But so far, I don't know if Abel canonically plays music.
Which song nearly broke your computer from how many elements?
Hear My Hope. Hear My Hope. So it takes probably like 4 minutes to even open the Pro Tools file.
How big is the file?
It's just like there have to be like 50 vocal layers. Each one has a ton of different like alternate vocal takes. It's just, and that's not even including all the instrumental layers. It's Hear My Hope is a real beef stew of a song.
Does each one need its own hard drive?
No.
What are you guys working on? Like how big is this?
I would say we share a ton of online cloud storage. We share terabytes of online cloud storage.
Which character would you not trust with your phone?
Vox, for sure.
Looking ahead for season 3 and 4, are there any new musical styles that you really wanted to explore?
Yeah. And we get to explore a lot of interesting and new musical styles.
Are they things that you've done in the past? Or are they
some of them are totally new to me. Some of them are things that I've done in the past unrelated to Hazbin Hotel. Every season is an opportunity for a completely new stylistic approach to music.
Do you do Hell of a Boss too?
I do.
All of them?
Most of them.
Most of them. Were there any characters that you were excited to collide the worlds for?
I can't say.
What was it like for you when the first time you saw Charlie and Blitz together?
That was so fun. I also, part of it is, we've been doing conventions with the Hazbin and the Hell of a People together. And Brandon's also in Hazbin. So, like, Brandon does the Hazbin panels and stuff like that. So I had seen Erica and Brandon interact before, and they have a fun rapport. And then getting to see them do that when they did that sort of crossover promo, I just got such a kick out of it.
Would Katie Killjoy ever have a song? Could you ever see something like that happening?
Maybe. I think part of it is when we get a sense of how many songs we can write in a season, it's the hardest part of it is figuring out who gets to sing this season. It really is the hardest part of the process.
Is there a certain amount of songs that you're trying to hit? Or is it just however?
Yes. Well, and that's like a contractual thing.
Like what? We need
We're
10
like,
songs.
yeah, exactly. So, for season 2, we were contracted for 20 songs.
Right.
And so it was like, well, how do those 20 songs shake out? Like, what is needed for the plot explicitly? Like, what characters are needed to sing in this moment? And then if we have like 1 or 2 songs that we don't know where they fit, who would we love to have sing who hasn't sung yet?
Do you ever flesh out a demo and keep it going even though you know you're not going to use it?
Once or twice. I would say there was a demo that we made for a song that got sort of scrapped and reapproached in season 3 that I love this demo so much that I just kind of kept working on it because I just thought the song slapped.
And did you have an idea of what character it would be for?
Yes.
So it could come back in like season 5, 6.
I don't think it will, but this song, maybe at some point off the clock, this actor and I can make that, in a few years when it wouldn't be a problem.
Can you grab me that album behind you?
Yes.
So in today's...
Oh, God.
Oh, it's okay.
Oh, no.
In today's day and age, it's so rare for people to have physical albums.
Yes.
But you guys, like, to have this and to see your work, and especially with all the incredible talent and the collaborators, like, what does it feel for you to see something like this that so many people cherish?
It's amazing. I mean, I think I have a great appreciation for physical media, for vinyl in particular, and being able to hold the sum of what you've spent just like sleepless nights and weekends working on, and being able to just kind of stare at this and go like, we did it. We made this, and have a physical object. It feels so different than like pointing at a screen on a streaming service and going like, we worked on that. This is just, it feels different. It's tactile. If I'm not mistaken, I believe they've made like a Blu-ray or a DVD or something of season 1 as well. And that's really exciting.
Oh, you got to get that.
I
want that.
Me too. I think they have. I know they talked about recording like a commentary track for it. I don't know if Sam and Sky mentioned that.
No, I don't.
No, I think they were recording a commentary for it. So I believe there is a physical media thing coming. But if there isn't, then we'll pretend I just didn't say that in this interview.
I just find it so cool that it has such a different element now. It's like, yes, we're seeing it, we're touching it, but now we could put it into something we could hear, like you said, all those sleepless nights and all that hard work come together.
Yeah.
Like, it's so sick.
It is gorgeous. And that's also like so much credit goes towards all the folks at Spindlehorse who work on like packaging design and stuff like that. And A24 as well for this, because season 1 was that soundtrack was like really completely released by A24. And so I appreciate their faith in saying like, it would be great to get this out on physical and make this is, I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud of it.
What awards did it get?
We got nominated for a lot of awards. We got nominated for the AMAs, the American Music Awards.
Right.
And we got nominated for the Billboard Awards.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was the Billboard category?
It was soundtrack. And I mean, beyond that, like, not to kind of pat myself on the back here.
Please, actually, this is the spot to do it.
This is the spot to do it. Okay. Well, the season 1 soundtrack is to this day the 5th best charting TV soundtrack in history.
In history. I got chills.
Yeah. No, number 5.
What's it behind? Star Wars, right?
Number 1. No, well, TV soundtracks.
Oh.
So The number one television soundtrack of all time is Vince Garibaldi Trio's Peanuts Christmas.
Wow.
Yeah. It is the single best charting television soundtrack in history. You might not, and then like you go, oh yeah, Christmas.
Every year, that's what people watch.
Totally.
Peanuts.
Yes. And so like there's just decades of it's like All I Want for Christmas Is You. It just pops back on the charts every Christmas.
Right.
So that is the number one TV soundtrack in history. I believe I think some of them might be like Hannah Montana or High School Musical. I think that might be some of the other ones that are like really high up on that list.
I mean, it's only going to keep growing.
Totally.
Are you in the booth with Richard when you guys are recording?
Totally. Yeah. And I think
is he trying to make sure the dialect of the characters stay true to who they are?
Oh, no, not really. I mean, for the most part, directing the songs is something that happens from Andrew and I, but we are often on Zoom together when this is happening. And I have to say, like, I have learned so much about directing from Richard Horvitz. He is a generationally talented voice director beyond like being a voice legend himself. And so I think I really appreciate the amount of time and the amount of hours I've been able to spend behind a mixing desk in a control room, sitting next to Richard as he directs dialogue and vice versa as he watches me direct songs, because he really is such an incredible talent, really comes into every session with an idea of what he would like from the actors while also giving them room to add their own choices and add their own flavor. And so much of his process is about making them feel comfortable to make those choices.
Right.
And that's something that is really important to me, because I want these actors to be having a good time. And I think if I'm just like, I just need it this way, do it exactly like it is in the demo every time, like, I just feel like they would have less good of a time and you'd be able to tell. Now, there are instances in which, just for the purposes of storyboards or whatever, where it's like we need a take that is closer to the way it's delivered in the demo. But it's so important that when we get that take, it's authentic to the actor and not them just doing an impersonation of what they've heard on the demo.
Are there any instances that come into mind where the singer improv something that you were just blown away by and it made it into the cut?
Totally. So many times. The most iconic version of that in season 1 was when Alex said guitar solo, fuck yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like there's so many moments like that. When we went into Piss with Alex was the one who added all of those little vocal runs that Serpentious does, all the kind of like boy band, like, oh yeah, like all that little stuff. Because initially it was very sort of straight toned. He was going, these Elysian nights. And then he started going, these Elysian nights. You know, he just started adding little bits here and there. And then by the end of the song, he was jamming out, like kind of doing the ear grab, like beating the piss. Like he was just doing all of those little moves that really all stayed in the track.
As a songwriter, I'm sure everything is so special, but before the song gets finished, what's your favorite part of the process?
My favorite part of the process is once we have the cast members in and we start adding finalized production in terms of like that end stage of the process, because the demos are never fully produced. The demos range from like not produced at all, where it's basically like a piano and maybe like a MIDI guitar and drums, to semi-produced, where you like kind of have sketches of layers of like, okay, there's an electric guitar here and sort of an electronic drum beat. But the songs are never done until we get the actors' performances in there, decide on all of our favorite takes and all of their different little choices, and then finalize the music based on also how they perform and how Viv tells us the scene is going to go in terms of actions, in terms of like, oh, it should get really big here, it should get really small and intimate there. And once all of that is in, all of a sudden we go, oh, wow, this is a song. So that moment where we go, that's a finished song. That's what a song sounds like.
Everything's saved on a hard drive. Could you ever see yourself releasing the demos?
I would love to.
Is it just your voice on the demos?
It's sometimes it's Andrew's voice. I would say it's mostly mine.
Never the actors.
No, not
The
in a
first
demo.
time they're there
Yeah.
is.
The first time they're hearing it is a demo that's performed by us.
Oh, so that'd be so cool to have you guys do it on. Are you doing it in the characters' voices?
I am, which is why I do most of the voices. If that wasn't the case, then I think it would be a little bit more 50-50 Andrew and I. But as it is now, when we send these demos to Vivienne, I'm often doing impersonations of the characters, in part because when we send these demos to her, those are kind of pitches, right? Like we're sort of pitching her on, hey, here's how this character would perform this. Here's the words that these characters would use.
So it has to be accurate.
Yeah. And so doing impersonations of these characters is part of the sales pitch of the song.
So you're already on season 4.
We're already finishing season 4.
Finishing season 4. Who's your favorite impression that you do?
I mean, I love doing a Sir Pentious, but I've figured out a lot more like I can do a Carmilla at this point. The number of impressions that I have in the cast have just grown the more songs I've done for them.
Is there anyone on Broadway that you really want to work with? Top 3.
Okay. Top 3 Broadway performers I would love to work with.
Maybe this will hit their algorithm. They'll see it. They'll come on board.
Yes. Carrie Butler would be on my list. Norbert Leo Butts would be on my list. And oh gosh. I mean, it's not Broadway, but I really loved that Hollywood Bowl Jesus Christ Superstar. So really like any of the main actors from that, like Cynthia Erivo, Adam Lambert. Oh my God. Here's a Broadway guy, Raul Esparza. Raul Esparza would be incredible.
How does it work with Viv trying to get these people? Does she put her feelers out?
She does. And I think part of that is like nobody knows the characters the way she does. So she comes up with the first lists of if there's going to be an offer to a specific person, that comes from her. But otherwise, then there are a lot of auditions that go out. I would say the majority of the characters are auditioned for. It's only a select couple characters where there might be someone that Viv really wants to hear read for it that may not be just like doing auditions that show up in their inbox. So to that end, that person might be an offer or a specific sort of like, please have this actor read for it sort of thing sent to an agent, that kind of thing. Occasionally, Viv will ask our advice on that, which I think is very cool. I love being a part of anything that is not traditionally part of the songwriting process. I think it's very exciting that we can also be like, oh yeah, actually musically, this actor would fit with this kind of song really well, and us being able to advise on that. And I appreciate that, like, to an extent, she does sort of take our counsel on that kind of thing.
Do you even do you take on other projects? Do you even have time for that?
Between Hazbin and the Living Tombstone, there is not a lot of other time. However, now that we're done touring, and now that we're finishing up season 4 of Hazbin, the main things that will be on my plate are, for the Living Tombstone, we're writing another album. We have some music to finish for Hell of a Boss. But outside of those two things, which adds up, I mean, I think those two things alone add up to like a full-time job. But I am kind of allergic to free time. So instead of hobbies, I have more work, which, you know, you don't have to lecture me that that's unhealthy. I know, but I like it. I like having that kind of lifestyle. So I do think we have room for maybe one other thing, but maybe just one.
Is that somebody contracting you to write songs for something?
Yeah.
Or?
And Andrew and I, to that end, like Andrew and I have an agent together as a duo. We have like a theater songwriting agent. And so we will get briefs for things. Like we will get emails being like, hey, here's a Disney show that wants spec songs, or here's a Cartoon Network show, or whatever it is, where we will get briefs for shows. But so far, Andrew and I haven't seen a brief where we're like, we need to do this. If one of those shows up, then maybe that will become our other thing that we do. But so far, it hasn't happened yet.
So let's say like a Disney Zombies new movie comes out. They want you to do it. You find out about it. You know the project. You're interested.
Yeah. my sense of it is we would pursue it if it was the kind of thing that really felt like we have to do it. So for example, let's say a show comes in and we're like, hey, that's really cool, but it feels like anybody could make this show. For us, we're thinking about why us, why the Hazbin guys, why these guys who make weird multi-genre stuff that makes, takes big swings creatively. And in many ways, we've been spoiled by Hazbin Hotel. Like, we have been spoiled by the fact that the Helliverse allows us so much variety that it's given us the luxury to be picky, but also being picky means that we're not just saying we haven't found another thing that we really are super excited about doing yet.
Like you said, you guys are the Hazbin guys. You take big swings. Do you try and throw a curse word in every now and then to make sure that it still stays in that Hazbin universe?
A lot of people have, spilled a lot of ink about cursing in the Helliverse, but I think something that's worth thinking about, which is certainly part of our process, is that any cursing that happens because of what character's communicating. So if Blitz is communicating something, he's going to speak and communicate the way Blitz communicates. And that, Blitz's dictionary is a dictionary full of swear words. The same thing is true for a character like Adam or a character like Cherry Bomb. Whereas, a different character like Charlie, there are a different set of circumstances that will get Charlie to swear, then we'll get Vox to swear, then we'll get Valentino or Velvet to swear. These characters swear for different reasons in different contexts. And so for us, the presence of swearing has nothing to do with the fact that it's a Helliverse show and everything to do with whoever is singing.
The character.
Yeah.
Can we fire through some fan questions?
Absolutely.
Which duet were you most excited to write for season 2?
Piss.
Why?
Because I've said that I love writing for Serpentious, but I also thought that Christina did not get enough opportunities to sing in season 1. And she's such a powerhouse of a vocalist that getting to check both of those things off made me really excited.
Who is Patrick Stump playing in Bad With Us?
He's playing a character called Hatchet, I believe, or a character called Prick. They're a duo. Hatchet and Prick are played by Andrew Durand and Patrick Stump, but I always forget which one is which.
Have you begun writing songs for season 3 and 4? If so, are they your favorite you've written so far for the show?
Yes and yes. We get better every season.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's like so cool to have that opportunity to keep building on the universe that you guys are creating.
Absolutely. And it's not like I'm proud. It's not like I'm not proud of season 1's music or season 2's music, but I just think every time we approach a new season, we just get better at what we do.
You guys are sharpening your skill set every single time.
Absolutely.
Because that's what's so cool about TV shows is that you're creating something completely new. So as the seasons go by, the character development, there's more things to write about. You guys understand each other more.
Absolutely.
It's so cool.
I think there are songs in season 2 that are better than anything we've written in season 1. I think there are songs in season 3 that are better than anything we've written in season 1 and 2. And same thing for season 4, for seasons 1, 2, and 3.
How do you deal with the pressure of having to get songs done in a certain amount of time?
I would say as healthily as I can. We get very stressed out, obviously, but we're really good at compartmentalizing and putting our noses down and getting to work and working fast.
I love that question, Chelsea. That's really good.
Yeah.
So do you find out, is Viv like, okay, you have a minute and 20 seconds for the song?
Yes, we know that is part of the initial conversation of a song is how long can this song last?
And do you ever try and stray away? Like, we do need 10 more seconds, and there's like, okay, yeah, it's worth it.
There have been times where we have asked for extra runtime and gotten it. Because generally the runtime conversation it's not an exact time. It's like this, it's never like this song needs to be exactly 2 minutes and 17 seconds. It's generally like this song should be 2 minutes to 2.5 minutes.
Right.
And so we get kind of a general range or a general range per episode. We'll get a sense of like, we can only have 5 to 7 minutes of music in this episode, and we should prioritize this song being the longest one. But then however that math comes together, that math comes together.
I forget if we answered this, but do you have a favorite Hazbin character to write for?
Serpentious, yeah.
What was the hardest song for you guys to write, and when will you give Lucifer his own rock song as an extension of his part from Vox Populi? The
hardest song to write, I think, was When I Think About the Future. And when will we give Lucifer his own rock song? You'll have to wait and see.
Do you have a favorite song from season 2?
Yes, I think my favorite song from season 2 is Piss. But I have season 2 has a lot of songs that I really love. Love in a Bottle is one of my favorites. Losing Streak too. Just as a pair, Love in a Bottle and Losing Streak, I think works so well together.
Now that so much time has happened since season 1, is there any songs that really grew on you?
Yes. I think Stayed Gone really grew on me. I liked it when we wrote it. Obviously, we wouldn't have been like, great, this is done, if we didn't even love the song. But in terms of the hierarchy of enjoying those songs, Stayed Gone grew on me quite a lot.
Where did it start out at?
I would say it was somewhere in the middle of the pack, and now it's towards the top.
Wow.
Hell is Forever as well. Also, like, kind of middle of the pack for me, and now it's one of my favorites for season 1.
Oh, that's so funny, because that one was always at the top for me.
Yeah.
Just the way Hell is for...
It's a fun and like getting to do sort of a theatrical rock song is always a blast.
Yeah. Do you have any cons coming up? Where can people find you?
I am scheduling cons for 2026 now, so I haven't scheduled them yet, just only because I've just gotten off tour and I'm figuring out when the Living Tombstone is performing next year so I can black out those dates to book my cons for 2026.
Yeah, that just blew my mind because I completely forgot about the whole con schedule and touring and writing and your personal, like...
It's a lot.
How do you have a personal life?
I
don't.
I think a lot of it is most of my friends are also people I work with.
Right, and you love them. So
I do.
That's so cool. Cool. Where can people find you? Where are you posting?
Yes, I am posting at Sam Haft Music on Instagram, at Sam Haft on Twitter, and at Fun Comfortable on TikTok.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming by and opening up and like sharing everything. And truly, it's been such an honor talking to you.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, Joe.
You're such a talent. Awesome.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Too.
Thank you. That was great.